All right, guys, I got another belt in. I'm going to try this today, and we're going to look at the results after I mow with it because I have to mow my front yard. But also, I wanted to show you guys, so you see these lines here? First time it's ever cut, it's going to do a checkerboard pattern. I cannot wait to see how it does. It actually has mower blades on it, but I wanted to show you guys my Yarbo. I am so excited to test this unit out. I haven't fully figured everything out, but this thing does snow blowing. It does all kinds of stuff. And we're going to kind of compare it because you can see it's striping through here. And this is supposed to do like a checkerboard pattern deal. And you can see it's having to cut through where I already had stripes of the other. But, I mean, it's just flawless how that thing goes back and forth. Now, the cut the first time that's going through this, like I said, it's insanely thick. So we're going to see when it gets done mowing. I think it said it takes 7 hours for this thing to mow this whole back plot and all the way to the front. And if it can do that, like I said, you could do it with a normal mower in 30 minutes. But you got to do it. This thing just does it on its own. So I'm super excited to see how it does when it gets finished. But I just want to show you that. And we're putting on this belt today for the Hustler to check and see if it's still slipping. I bought a Kevlar one. Now, I don't know if that will be better, but it's supposed to be better. So I thought, hey, I'll test this out and see and go for that. Like I said, I'm going to show you guys the process of putting it on. So we're going to back it up on these ramps. I'm going to show you how you change this belt just in case any of you don't know. So the first thing we got to do is get a pair of pliers. And then you drop this deck down and you pull this chain right here out of that body there. And I always mark the chain that it starts with and count the lengths. And like I said, over time, you can tension that out or in depending on if you put a new belt on or whatever. But my blade belt doesn't seem to be slipping, just my drive belt does. So we got to drop the deck. Like I said, if you drop it down, you can get in there really easy because it lets that deck give you a bigger gap right there. Then we just need a wrench like this, or anything you can get in there. And you come over and you hook it on there and you pull it out. It's kind of an awkward position, so I'm not going to show you while I do it, but it's super simple. It took about 2 seconds, so you can see there I pulled that. And you can always tell if a belt's slipping because you can look at the belt and see if it's marred or anything. Now they use a Kevlar on this, but they used a regular belt on this part here, or this belt in the top, which I thought was odd. I'm almost sure my old hyperdrive had a cogged belt at the top. But anyway, we're going to take this off, and to do that, we've got to loosen this bolt here in this little part that tensions it. You take the front nut off, pull this off, lets the arm swing all the way out. There's a grease fitting on here too. If you guys are buying one of these, you have to grease that ever so often, and that arm will come out. That'll let that whole belt come off. So we got to get this off around this clutch first. So like I said, I've got to I don't know if I can get enough without taking it off the pulleys. Looks like I can with 2 hands. But anyway, you guys see that, I'll get it off there and show you. If you're ever doing this down the road and you're gonna have this belt off anyway, best thing to do is check all of your spindles. Just roll them, make sure they roll good, there's no sound. and it rolls smoothly. You know, you can check all of your bearings on your machines. It's just a good idea. If you're wondering what takes those off to tension it, for that spring on your idler, they're 14 or 9/16, which is pretty much the same thing. Here is the old belt, and like I was saying, you can see where it has marred itself. Let's see if I can get it at the right angle. So you can see the rib in there and how shiny it is, because it's eat away at the sides, and then part of it was cracking on the other side from, I guess, some pressure. You can see on that outer ring there where it's starting to separate. And this only has 13 hours on it. So I don't know, like I said, maybe, I'm hopeful that when I put this other belt on, that it was just the fact that the factory tension wasn't properly tensioned. Now, I won't know till I run this, so you guys are going to get to see firsthand. So I'm going to put the other one on and go from there. You can see the two belts side by side. You can see how this one is not eat up on the sides. This has Kevlar on it, so it should be a better belt. I'll put a link for every bit of this in the bio. So you're going to click more below the video. So if you need to order one of these, like I said, if it works great, won't know till we run it. But there'll be a link to it in the bio. But I mean, I would say that it eat off of this one like 1/8 of an inch compared to the other one. So I mean, it's going to be better than what it was for sure. So you can see here it is on, and you know, you can see when you deflect this side, it's pushing that pulley. When you deflect it even 1/4 inch, it's pulling on this, and you can't turn pulleys because without the belt spinning. So it should be tight enough. I put it to where it was back a little tighter than the factory setting. There's still plenty of tightening on there, but I think that is tight enough where it's at. So now I'm going to put the blade belt back on, make sure I've got it routed properly up there. It's got a diagram, so if you happen to forget, there's a diagram right here that shows you how to run your pulleys. See it? I mean, you stay on the outside here, inside, outside, inside, inside, outside. So I'm gonna make a few passes with it and then look up and under it, see if I see any belt debris or slippage or anything like that. It feels positive right now, but like I said, won't know till I really put it to use. So you can see we've made quite a few passes down through there. I was just gonna take this back here in a minute and look at it, but I'm gonna cut the rest of this first, and like I said, just check it and see. But it feels positive. Like I said, I don't feel what I felt in it prior, but I didn't really feel that in the beginning of having the mower. So like I said, I'm not really sure, but you guys can see that cut across through there. So when I put this belt on, everything felt great in the beginning, and I mowed the entire, you know, front yard except for like this wraparound through here. And at the end, so on my 60-inch mowers, you know, when you get over rocks or anything like that, or you're going halfway in the driveway, a lot of times I'll sit in the seat and I will throttle this, you know, halfway down from full throttle, and then as soon as I get over it, I'll throttle it all the way up and keep going. So I did that a couple of times as I was going, and I noticed after that it felt like it was slipping again. I have not looked up under here, but I was just telling you guys that before. So I'm wondering if this is slipped or anything. We're going to look at it together. But if you look on the sides of it, you can tell that it's slipped some because the coating is gone. See that there? And so I wonder if on these, you know, Super Z's and stuff, or maybe my clutch, I don't know. I'm gonna have to let the dealer look at it, but I wonder if you can't throttle these up and down near as quick as you can like with a 60-inch. And so it's very possible that on these the big deck like this, that and maybe I don't have it tight enough again, I don't know, but I didn't notice it until the end. And so like I said, it is almost 100 degrees out and the belt is warm, but I just wonder on these if you're not able to, because what it feels like is, it almost feels like the clutch slips. So I'm going to tighten the belt on up and mow with it some more, because I didn't feel that in the beginning. And if it continues to do it, even with it tight, like I said, I'm going to let the dealer look at it. I'm getting my Yarbo set up, and so I was going to cut with this some more after I tightened it, but I just want to tell you guys that I'm wondering if I'm going to have to throttle very, very slow to throttle this back up. Because like I said, the clutch is already engaged. The blade's already engaged. They're already spinning at a certain RPM. And then I'm just throttling it from halfway to full throttle, but I'm pushing it, you know, quick. So I'm wondering if there's enough torque on this to slip that drive, or if the clutch isn't gripping it tight enough. Like I said, I really don't know at this point, but I know that belt felt the same way after that little bit of time period. So I'm gonna have to cut with it some more after I tighten it again and see. All right, so I tightened the belt up a second time and I don't feel that again, but this grass is really, really thick. I mean, it's just, like I said, it's crazy thick, and you can see how much it's kicking over in there when I cut it. It's piling up on top of the deck. But we was gonna go through it here and cut this, and I was just gonna show you guys how it did on this to see if it was slipping again, because this, you know, this is a good test for it in thick grass. Hold it like that?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Like over these rocks right here, whenever I go over these, I like to slow the mower down so it don't suck them up in the blades. So I'm kind of throttling it all the time in this little area, and then a couple other ones. And so I don't know if that's going to make a difference on this 72, but I'm going to try to start just throttling it easy and see if it keeps from it slipping at all. Keep it pointed up here. So you can see there, it didn't slip in that at all, and it felt fine. But I'm just not certain if it's the belt or if it's the pulleys or the clutch or what. I'll just have to do some more testing on it. Talk about having some spare time. If this thing will do what they say it'll do, and cut 6 acres, I can literally map my entire property with it and have it mow the whole thing, especially like we're on vacation, or maybe there's just a few months I don't want to mow, I don't have any competitions coming up or anything. But the real thing will be, you know, will it leave a really good checker pattern? And I truly think it will, but we'll just have to wait and see. But you can see it mowed this entire area today, and it's mowing that right there right now. It's really quiet. But I wonder if it's gonna do a cool pattern. You know, it's got a ton of patterns on it that you can pick. So, like I said, I cut this earlier with the 72-inch, and it's really hard to beat that look. I mean, it literally looks like a blanket on there. And so I'll be curious to see after it cuts this a few times. I'm gonna let it cut this entire thing here, and I'm actually gonna do a comparison with it and a zero turn, showcasing, you know, how long it takes to do this versus a zero turn, but also your time savings and things like that. And so you can see it going down through there. I mean, to not have to babysit that thing and it just cut past, it'll do zigzags, it'll do like squares in your yard, all kinds of crazy stuff. But another cool thing is you can literally, while it's mowing, look all the way around it and see what's going on at all times. So it's got cameras front, back, side to side, and, you know, like I said, the actual lawnmower blades. So stay tuned to see how this thing does long term, and even does cutting this. Like I said, it's the first time it's ever cut it. And really with these mowers, well, this one, they say that you can just let it cut. So this grass was about 6 inches tall to the height where it's cutting at. I mean, you can see what it's having to cut. It's, you know, hand height above it through there. So I don't know, like I said, I'm excited to see. They sent it out to me for testing, so you guys will get to see that on the channel as we go.